Hey, welcome back to another episode of Media Talks TV with your host Tony J. And today we have a special episode. Um, I think I want to first start out by acknowledging um, that just this week, well, before this week, I did a previous video talking about social media. In fact, I think I've done two videos. This is actually going to be my third video, and it kind of goes into the issue with Fresh and Fit being demonetized. Now, I really want to segue that into about the issue with social media because I've been on YouTube for, I guess, since 2019, you could say. And what I realized about YouTube is that the algorithm kind of, in some ways, supports certain types of content creators. I myself am a content creator that's focused on information and informing the public and basically talking about topics that I'm actually passionate about when it deals with media. I don't often touch social media because being that I'm in this field myself, I'm still new to the field and I'm still learning about social media, you know. Being on these social media platforms for all these years, I've been on social media going all the way back to maybe 2006 when I first had an account with MySpace. And then, of course, having an account with Facebook and then following that up with Instagram and then Twitter, right? So, with all these platforms, what I noticed one thing about it is that these platforms die out. These platforms change and they evolve. And most of the time on YouTube, what I notice with YouTube, the average channel doesn't last but maybe, I'd say, 2 to 5 years. And after that, a lot of YouTube channels flame out, you know, and it's based on the content. Some people have been on YouTube for almost 13 years. Some channels that have been consistently posting material have been on YouTube since maybe 2015 to 2016. So, with this social media atmosphere, I always have to keep in mind that this environment and this space that I'm in will often, will more than likely change. There is really no longevity in this game. And I understand that. That's probably one of the primary things that I'm doing right now is taking my videos and putting them on a website in a self-sustaining platform. Because to be honest, I don't see a lot of longevity in YouTube. And because I don't see a lot of longevity in it, I don't see why it's any surprise that Fresh and Fit got demonetized. Back in 2020, when people were home, you got this surge of YouTube channels, and some of those YouTube channels, I would say, deals with, there could be several of them. I'm not going to name any category because there's several YouTube channels out there. But if you think about it, you look at, channels like that, and basically, car channels, gaming channels, you know, stuff like that. There's so many channels on YouTube, especially in 2020, that it kind of flooded the algorithm. Since people started engaging with it, people started signing up and subscribing. But truth be told, a lot of those people, because it was a trend, they flame out. And I wanted to bring this really back to the issue with Fresh and Fit. Fresh and Fit kind of started off in the YouTube space around 2020. And what's so crazy about the backstory of Fresh and Fit is they gained and garnered a very, very big audience and a very big following. You have people that have quit their own jobs, that have really left high powered jobs just to focus on building something on YouTube. And, you got some people that have jobs, and, YouTube for them is like a side hobby. Some people look at it as a hobby, some people look at it as a business. For me, this is a hobby. It's not something that I normally take seriously. I put content out, I see what people react to. And the thing about the smaller content creators is that not enough of them, the ones that give out true informational content, mostly don't get noticed at all, even if it's a super niche. The the one thing that the type of videos that do well on YouTube, and let's be honest, mostly travel videos, car content, maybe bikini hauls, bikini models, because that brings a lot of eyeballs, that brings a lot of attention, and also the phenomenon of ASMR. So you have, a person could put out one ASMR video or one bikini haul video, and they already got maybe 347,000 views compared to somebody that has 1 million views. And the thing about it is, with Fresh and Fit, the biggest folly of Fresh and Fit is that they had a big surge and a following, but they built their platform off of controversy. You know, I have been on here for years, and I've seen people around me, and I noticed about YouTube, and one of the things about YouTube is that it gives you a false sense of reality, thinking that you could make millions of dollars off of this platform. And you can't. It just won't happen. You can't be Mr. Beast. You can't be Paul Logan. You can't be PewDiePie. You know, and those are the creators, those are the top YouTubers. of all time. And the thing about it is, you got a lot of people that follow these trends and give up their whole life and put their all into YouTube, only to find out they get monetized and then they get demonetized. Now, thing about YouTube, I don't like the idea of ads running on any of my videos. I don't like commercials. I don't like mid ads and stuff like that, because I feel like it takes away from the value of the video when people got to click through ads. And ads may add money to your pocket, ad revenue. But the thing about ad revenue is that it shouldn't be your bread and butter. You got to have something more outside of the supplement what you have on YouTube. A lot of businesses don't put their stake in YouTube, and they have other things outside of those ventures. They just use YouTube as a marketing tool. And that's essentially what YouTube is. It's a marketing tool. It's not meant to be informational. It can be informational, but when I think about YouTube as a platform, it's a marketing tool. It's a search engine. It's SEO. So I have a person, I'm not going to name any names. And if you're watching this, I know who you are. You don't have to, pretend. But, one of the things about YouTube, and the biggest problem, is a lot of content that's geared towards things that are dangerous and illegal. And I've explained to this person that if they continue down this road, that there's going to be consequences for your actions. And you're not going to be able to come back from it. And I'm not aiming this specifically towards anybody, but I'm going to give a fair warning. I'm going to tell a story, and a cautionary tale. Thing about YouTube is, if you don't have your ego in check, YouTube will have you feeling like you're the shit, when in reality, you're just another content creator that's just like everybody else. You don't have any informational content that could help your viewers, and you're just talking about a material item that eventually will one day lose its value, or will one day find itself wrapped around a tree. Now, you keep playing this game with the fake paid subscribers that you have and the amount of money that you've put into this whole thing. Understand this, sir or madam, that this shit has no longevity at all. You're throwing a rock into a water, or a rock across a pond, without a destination attached to it. Whenever you do something, whenever you start a business, whenever you have a goal, always come with the end in mind. Don't attach your ego to this material item, because it's like I said, just because you have the money to sufficiently take care of that item does not necessarily mean it's going to be worth anything. People can steal this, and many of these items have been stolen before. Anybody can walk up. You know how valuable it is. You wouldn't go flaunting it on social media, because if you do, somebody's going to steal it. And, you know, I warned this person many times. I try to tap on people's shoulder. I said, hey, stop acting like what you're not. Don't act like something that you're not. Thing about me is I've always been true to who I am. I never come out here and try to portray myself as something that I'm not. I always try to be different from the trend. I don't follow trends. I don't follow the crowd. But the problem with you is that you follow trends, and those trends, they die out. It's one of the particular reasons why Fresh and Fit is coming to its indefinite end, because they make material that, even though people gravitate towards it, they portrayed themselves to be something that they're not. And now that it's all falling apart, they quit their careers, they've quit everything just to be in this space. But they made their ego, they allowed their ego to perceive who they were in the process. And Fresh and Fit has a serious ego problem in particular. Somebody that has to have a whole bunch of women around them, somebody that has to tell people, you know, you need to do this, and you don't follow the same advice. Your values don't align with who you say you are. You know, and that's what's so crazy about social media. Everybody can be whatever they want to be in this space. But when they cut the camera off and when they walk out their door, they got to face reality. They got to face not having the integrity that, well, not having the integrity of who they are intact, because they don't want to show that part of themselves to the world. They don't want to show their failures. They want to put up some fake shit and say, well, oh, we're going to go from this to this, or we're going to go from, you know, car content to gaming. And the truth of the matter is, in this space, you have to be consistent. Consistency pays off all the way. It may not pay off now, but later down the line, it will. But if you're not consistent, not only with who you are, and you try to cut corners, trying to portray yourself out to be some guru or some wannabe Paul Walker type person, you're gonna find out long and hard where that's gonna lead you. You know, a lot of people on this platform are like Icarus. You get overconfident, you get cocky, and you think you know everything, but you have personal failings that you want to hide from the world. But you know you have personal failures, but you don't want to share that with the world because you feel as though, you know, getting to the bag is more important than being your authentic self. Instead of being your authentic self and being consistent with who you are, you want to be like the trends. You want to chase after, the Omis and the whatevers. And the problem is a lot of these people are flaming out because people are starting to find out they're not who they portray themselves to be. You could say it's entertainment, but at the end of the day, it's your business that suffers. And most viewers aren't going to be willing to forgive somebody that does a lot of fake shit on this platform. You know, in regards to Fresh and Fit, I've never liked Fresh and Fit. That's I'm one of those critics. I've never liked Fresh and Fit because Fresh and Fit talks about stuff that's kind of like the a part of this bro culture shit that we're seeing uh spewed all over the internet and making it seem like somebody else's life is inadequate when in reality that's just who they are. Wow, these two bozos sit up here, they quit their day jobs just to be in this space, and now they can't make any money from their from whatever they created in 2020 because of who they are and because of what they did. Now, a lot of stuff they did, ragging on women and messing around with anti-Semitic messaging, aligning themselves with MAGA Republicans and the like. And the truth is, you can't it in this space. You know that at some point, all of this is going to be gone. All of this shit is temporary. It's not going to be around. It's probably one of the reasons why I say, if you're going to be in this space, make sure that you move your content off the algorithm and have your own website. That's the most important thing. Have your own website, you know, and that to me is the most important thing of all, because what I'm noticing about YouTube itself is that this platform constantly changes. I saw the changes in 2015, saw the changes in 2017 with the introduction of 4K and whatnot. And some of the YouTubers that I followed, even in the beginning, some of those people are gone. They're not around anymore. You know, so it's unfortunate how this platform is constantly changing. And YouTube is one of those largest platforms. You could do a lot on it, but it should not be your main source of income. And I think with Fresh and Fit, they made too much of they depended too much on that ad revenue. Even though they had the followers, they're gonna have to start charging people for the content that they create because it's too controversial to be on YouTube. But I wanted to connect this with a lot of other YouTubers because I feel like this needs to be said. You know, I am who I am, and I realize I have people around me that have an ego, and I feel like YouTube and social media has fed into their egos so much that they forgot where they came from. They forgot who they were. And sometimes you could get so lost in this shit that you don't snap back into reality. And, with me, these people that were around me, I can tell you, I have nothing to prove to these people. I have nothing to prove to you because at the end of the day, I have the college degree. This person has the rap sheet. And because this person has the rap sheet, if they stepped outside of their main job or career, they couldn't go anywhere else because they have a rap sheet. You know, it's all about life. Life to me is not about a race. It's not a marathon. It's not a race. It's a marathon. It's consistency. You keep running. You set goals. You jump over the poles. You sprint. You're not trying to get here and then say checkmate. You know, and I see a lot of that with this group that I spent time with. They feel as though they're winning in life when in reality, you know, everybody has done what they've done. So it's not necessarily an achievement. An achievement or a cornerstone of one's life is the bedrock in which they have options. I achieve something, so it expands my options. I don't have a record. My record is clean. I have many options to make money, many options to actually do something different. If I want to walk away from a job, I could do that because I know how valuable I am. But it seems like with this group, they can't walk away from their jobs because they don't have any options. They don't have no no options whatsoever. Your options are limited. Mines are expansive. So if somebody decides to take whatever certification from you, then what are you going to be able to do? You ain't going to be able to do nothing. And that's why I say, you got to have a fallback plan just in case stuff don't work out. And like I said, being cocky and overly confident cause you to lose everything in the process. You tell this person some advice, and then all of a sudden they disregard it. And it's like, well, they're always going to be that way. So that's one of the reasons why I dust my feet off at the door. That's in the Bible. You have to wash your hands of them in order for you to grow and go forward. And you know what? I realized too, personally, after a few incidents with these people, that being the bigger asshole does not make me a better person. being the bigger man and understanding, they knocked me down, but they were already down when they tried to knock me down. They were already down. I'm not going to talk about the totality of their lives because they know what their lives are like. They're the sum of their decisions, you know. It's just like that old quote from James Baldwin's one of my favorite all-time favorite quotes. People pay for what they do, and they do so abundantly, simply by the lives that they lead. If you lead a life of fast motor vehicles, cars, whatever, it's all going to end eventually. It's material. It's material shit. So bragging online about how much you pay for this material item, bragging about it, talking about what you're going to name it. That's some egotistical shit. And being somebody that has an ego, eventually you give a man enough, you give a person enough rope and they'll hang themselves eventually. And this person has hanged themselves so many times, this is wonder that they're still back doing the same stupid shit that they've always done. But I'm not going to feed into that because I know I'm better than that. I've had my personal failures. I've lost things. But then, even when I walked away, I gained a sense of peace with myself because I know I'm not the problem. They are. And the problem to me and people like Fresh and Fit is that some of these people have a sense of stunted growth. They put too much stock in worldly possessions and worldly things. Now, it's nice to have, cool things. I like nice things too. But I wouldn't make a whole damn YouTube channel off of something that I had for only what, 3.5 years? It just doesn't make any sense. And I could assure you, just like everything else, every time you're in it, it loses value. Every time you do something to it, go too fast, you're putting pressure on that possession. You're going to damage it. You're going to wear out. You're going to wear it out. And then it's not going to be of value after that. What was that old saying back in the day? Speed kills. Speed kills. It's like the tortoise and the hare. You think life is a race, and it isn't. Life is not a race. And if you continue to cut corners, you're going to find yourself in some bad situations if you even haven't already. But since you think you know shit, I'll leave it alone. I'll back off. You know, it's just like that old Greek tale with Icarus. Don't fly too high to the sun or your wings will melt. But if you fly too low, you'll drown. You fly too high to the sun, your wings are going to melt eventually. But who am I? Who am I to judge? You know, maybe you like flying too high to the sun. Maybe you like to see your wings melt off. That's the whole point. But keep being who you are. Because eventually, like I've said time and time again, this YouTube shit, eventually all of it ends. And you're just going to be another channel that had subscribers that's just going to go on to see other people's content that is similar to yours. Ain't going to be no different. If you try to be like everybody else, then the people that you had looking at your content gonna go move on to somebody else's content that's even better and actually quality shot with quality doing the same stuff that you did just 2 or 3 years ago. Most important thing is just be yourself. Try to post consistently and just be you. Tell the truth about yourself. Don't try to hide who you are or this fake facade of a channel. Just be your authentic self. That's all I've said. That's all I had to tell you. But, you know, you'll figure it out eventually, or if you haven't already. But I like to move away from this situation, you know, and kind of redirect this video back to Fresh and Fit. A lot of channels on YouTube have serious issues in what they promote. We don't do enough. I don't feel like YouTube does enough promote information content because so much of the channels are based off of very superficial shit. You know, makeup channels, car content, you know, dance content, all types of, you know, just useless shit. Thing about Fresh and Fit was it was so vapid and fake that you could see right through it. Every single channel, every single episode that was covered was fake. But you know, when you have stuff like that, and the thing about Fresh and Fit is they have created a trend, and a lot of other, trends are starting to pop up. This whole podcast fiasco, which is starting to take hold with YouTube. Everything has to be a podcast. And I've never understood that too. Like you could do a simple video like this and actually get 700 to 800 views. Back in 2011, I had started posting around 2010 on my other channel, and even then, you know, I didn't get much out of it, so I quit that, and then I moved into creating this channel that was more niche content, niche focus. I'm getting to a point where I'm going to be creating sub content and kind of having this channel have a simul multimedia platform in a sense, because I want to talk about a lot of different issues. But the problem with Fresh and Fit is Fresh and Fit is not, was fresh and fake. And like I said, if you take all the stuff that they've created away, the neon signs and the whole mics and the podcast shit, you'll see it didn't really amount to anything. It really didn't. I've seen many of their shows. I've seen Kevin Samuels gain popularity in just under 1 year. It was crazy. 2020, really, a lot of content creators, they started, getting off the ground, but you're starting to see a lot of these content creators that had that big surge in 2020 because everybody was on lockdown and nobody had nothing but, TV to actually soothe their anxiety levels, but they kept going anyway. That's the thing. It's the ego that created those channels. And now more people getting out, those channels that had that spike in 2020 are seeing a steady decline. They're flatline because they built their channel on very useless shit. And the channels that my people, my circle had, they didn't last long because they lacked the consistency. One of the things that's the key to success, and what I've known and what I've realized, is consistency. That's why I've always tried to post a video every week on this platform, because it's important to me. In some ways, that tree has grown. My viewership has grown, which is good. It's not where I wanted to be. When I get 100 subscribers, I'd be happy. But what I realize is that I have to keep consistently posting videos, and then that growth will eventually balloon. But I don't look at this as being a permanent thing. I know that YouTube is just temporary for certain channels. It's temporary because, for one, the algorithm constantly changes. That's one. And then viewers' tastes change like the wind. One day you're watching, music content. Somebody posted up music, and then at some point, somebody is going to another person's channel, and their channel is just as good as theirs. One of the examples I can point out to this is if you type in the word New York City, you'll come up with a whole host of channels that do filming in New York, right? Walking Channel, The Walking Show. They have all these channels on New York that specifically focus on New York City and virtual tours and virtual. And at one point, whenever I had a YouTube channel back in 2010, and anytime I typed in anything about New York City, the only channel that was doing New York based content was Muni Meter. That was a very long time ago. And they did certain neighborhoods and walked around certain neighborhoods. It's called Muni Meter NYC. That was an old channel. Now, after 2015, really after 2018, you had this guy named Action Kid. I watch him all the time. I always loved his content. He started this trend, and then now everybody else is doing the same type of channels that he's doing. He had to move to Miami just to get away from certain people that are doing the same New York channels as him, which is crazy. But the fact of the matter is everybody's channel seems the same. Everybody has a niche until your niche or your super niche becomes a trend on YouTube. And that's one of the things why I already know getting into this game, I know there isn't going to be any longevity in. But people who think they're going to make $1 million on here or think that they're going to be the next big YouTube star, you got another thing coming. You're not going to be Mr. Beast. You're not going to be Paul Logan. YouTubers aren't really taking over anything because YouTubers are totally dependent on ad revenue and dependent on the algorithm. And one thing I don't want is for my videos or my content to be dependent solely on the algorithm. Or the algorithm trying to make a decision on whether my content violates some type of community standards. I already know. And that's one of the primary reasons why once I build up the subscriber base on here, I'm just going to post up videos to redirect people to a website. That's how you do it. Oh, if you want this content, go to my website. If you want this content, go to my Patreon. If you want this content, go to my OnlyFans. That's how you know your content has some longevity because you've taken that off of the platform and put it somewhere else where people have to pay to get to that content. If they're loyal followers, if they're loyal fans, they'll go and seek that content out whenever they want. That's the whole purpose of this game. YouTube is not a place for longevity. It is a marketing platform, not an entertainment space. And neither is it an informational space at that. But people still put videos up. But there's no telling how long those channels are going to be up. Some have even deleted their channels. Some have even shut down their channels completely and started new channels because they felt like they was in a different stage in their life. Some people have gone a whole year without posting, or a whole 3 years, 2 or 3 months without posting anything. I know I went several months without posting anything. It's just what the game entails. This is simply a hobby. It is not supposed to be your bread and butter. Absolutely not. Hell no. So I don't know what to say about Fresh and Fit. Only thing I can say is create an app, create a website and move your videos and your content off of the platform. If your fans really love you, they follow you somewhere else. They have to be customers now. You got to convert them. That's how this game works. But that's all I wanted to say for today. You know, I just felt the need to make a different video for this week. I'm gonna continue my other video series later down the line once I get back. But I thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And this has been another episode of Media Talks TV with your host, Tony J. I'm signing off. Have a great day.